Hello there, everyone. This is Scott from Grey Ghost Gardening. It's Father's Day. Happy Father's Day to all of you fathers out there. Well, today is another potato harvest day. I have got 6 of my big tubs that I need to harvest. And they've had the vegetation clipped off about a week ago, 6 days ago or so. And I thought today would be a good day to dump them out and see what I've got in there. I've still got, you can kind of see over my shoulder here, I've still got some of my longer indeterminate varieties that are going. I didn't get them, they're not stood up or supported. So the foliage is kind of disorderly and spilling everywhere. But I've got some German butterball in containers still back here, and some Burbank russet. But those aren't close to being ready yet. I hope that they make it. We are expecting temperatures north of 105 here in Southeast Texas this next week. Now that doesn't mean we actually get that hot. But that's what's in the forecast. Consecutive days, 104, 105, and that's brutal heat. That's tough on anything in the garden. So I'm going to get set up here, and I'll show you what we've got, and we'll get to digging around for some potatoes. All right, stay with me. Okay, so I've got some Purple Viking here, two tubs of Purple Viking. You can see when these were planted way back on March 10th. And it's, what is it? It's June 19th right now. So we're well over 90 days with these. So I've got 2 of those there. And then my Red Pontiac, I've got 2 containers here of Red Pontiac that were planted back on March the 12th, and 2 tubs of Nicola that were also planted on March the 12th. So we will get these moved around. I'm trying to stay in the shade. Cosmo the Wonder Pup is guarding the pecan tree from squirrels. I think he'd rather be inside. But anyways, like I said, let me get these pulled around to my chair, get the camera set up, and we will get to digging for potatoes. Here is my lovely co-host Cosmo, giving up on the squirrels in the little pecan tree. So let me get to dumping and let's see what we got. So like I said, these are the Nicola potatoes. What do you think, bud? Are we gonna find anything in here? Well, good, bad, or ugly. We'll see what we got. I see a bunch of little bitty ones. That's not necessarily what we're looking for. These out of that one. So that is, you know, pretty clearly a strikeout. So let's dump the other one out, see if it has done any better. I guess I don't have real high hopes for it, but every Every day's a new day. Well, I can already see more potatoes here in this one. So isn't that the craziest thing? This one is, I don't know if I hesitate to say loaded, but this one is seems to be plenty productive. So I don't know for the life of me why the potato gods tease you the way that they do. And you can have two buckets sitting side by side by each other, and one produces for you and one doesn't. If anybody has any thoughts or comments on that, I would certainly love to hear it. These were both planted at the same time. You know, got the same watering, got the same say this, when I say they got the same watering, clearly this bucket, just from feeling the soil and the moisture in the soil, I can tell you this bucket is much, I don't want to say wet, but it's certainly looser. I got one or two more that fell out up here. So, not a total bust by any stretch of the imagination. Maybe not quite as good as I was hoping for. So I don't know if you say disappointment is the right word, but maybe these are potatoes that are, you know, I'm better served growing these smaller ones like this in a 5-gallon bucket versus a bigger bucket. I don't know. Maybe that 5-gallon bucket can dissipate heat better. I don't know. But there's a little something there. In that first bucket, basically was a giant goose egg. I was really nervous. But all right, let me get this cleaned up, and then we'll get on with the next bucket. Okay, so let's get to the next couple of buckets. These are heavy, so I'm hoping that means they're heavy with potatoes. These were Red Pontiacs. Came out pretty clean. This is still, sprinkler must have gotten this because this is still really wet. There's the seed potato. Yeah, there's definitely pay dirt here in this one. I'm surprised at how wet it still is, but I guess the sprinklers that I had for the grass, maybe I thought I had moved them into a good place, but clearly I hadn't. So I'm getting some potatoes here. pretty good haul here so far. These little bitty ones, I still like those. You know, I still boil them. We'll use them in shrimp boils and crawfish boils and that kind of stuff. Even though it's not really crawfish season anymore so much. But the other thing too that's interesting to look at is look at the length. Clearly the seed potato was down here, and these produced along a much longer part of the root than certainly the Nicola potatoes did. And so that's an interesting, comparison, I guess, to make. Made really nice, good-sized potatoes. And the one thing I can tell you is that, even though it's been kind of a mixed bag, it has still been more successful than the potatoes that I've grown in ground, mostly because I just have a heck of a time with squirrels that are constantly digging up my seed potatoes, and so that's frustrating, to say the least. So that was a pretty good haul, in my opinion. I don't know if it really is or isn't, but and for being Pontiac Reds, maybe they were getting too big. Maybe I let them go too long. They're not as red as I guess I was expecting them to be, but I'm not complaining. All right, number 2, as I throw dirt all over myself. So this kind of stuff I'm just going to throw back in here to make it a little bit easier when I come and pick up. Oh. For those of you, the benefit of those of you that maybe haven't seen the videos, or a couple of videos I did when I was planting these potatoes, I planted, Lord, Norland Red, Kennebec White, Red Pontiac, the Nicola, German Butterball, Purple Viking, and Burbank Russet. And I guess my reasoning behind planting all these different varieties was to see if, one of these particular varieties produced better or worse here in this area. And you know, so far I would say that I'm certainly disappointed with the Kennebec. Felt like it underproduced significantly. Now, you know, the Pontiac Red here, they, you know, by all account, did really well. When I've got this and the little bit that was in the test bucket that I harvested, the little 3-gallon bucket that I had that I harvested earlier, and so I'm pleased with what I have here from the Pontiac Red. Again, when I'm done here, I'll get all this cleaned up and put it all out here and sort it out. So right now, let me get this dirt removed, and then we'll do the last 2 tubs that I have, which are the Purple Viking. And I'm hoping those produced as well as the couple of 5-gallon buckets that I had that had Purple Viking in them. So stay with me. I'll be back once this is all cleaned up. All right, I'm back, and I have to apologize. Amateur mistake. Battery died on my phone while I was videoing the first bucket of Purple Viking potatoes that I harvested. Potatoes are down here, so that's full disclosure. So thankfully I have 2 buckets. You're probably thinking, Lord, please no more. These were planted on, both were planted the same day, on the 10th of March. So we're well over 90 days. The first bucket, you know, produced some decent potatoes. Again, for the size of the bucket, maybe I was hoping there was going to be a little bit more in there, but these are such good potatoes. If you've never grown these, never eaten them, good grief. The ones that I had 2 5-gallon buckets that I harvested earlier. One I harvested real early because the foliage died off for whatever reason. But these, the flavor is just phenomenal. At least my family and I feel that way. So let me get this second bucket harvested so we can wrap this up and see what all we got. So you can see how big these are. I want to say that these are somewhere in the neighborhood of, oh Lord, better than 20 gallons. So, you know, there's a lot going on in there, and like I said, what I'm going to start experimenting with and playing with is, you know, getting the outside of these things cleaned up really good and then painting them to see if maybe that keeps them from getting so hot. But that's for a later day. So let's see what we got, because when I get in here and feel the interior of this soil, it's amazingly warm. You know, the edges, you know, surprisingly are pretty cool, but here, once you get inside, wow, I mean, it gets warm in a hurry. The other thing I would love to hear from anyone is how late into the basically now into the summer do you go with your potatoes. I realize, you know, in a lot of climates, it's cooler than what we have here in Southeast Texas, and so you can go much later into the summer. But my challenge with a lot of these varieties was I couldn't source the seed. It wouldn't ship until, oh Lord, you know, the second week of February, and so then, you know, at that point now you're talking about trying to get it, you know, if you're going to chit it, what you're going to do with it in order to try to improve your odds of success. I will say this, just through kind of casual observation, I've had better yields in containers where I've used whole seed potatoes rather than chitting them, cutting them into pieces. You know, where each piece had just a couple of eyes maybe on it. So I don't know if others have thoughts or ideas about that. That's the biggest one I've ever seen. If you do, please share them with me in the comments. I would love to hear it. I would argue that I might have let these go just a tad too long, but I think they'll still eat. There's always that one more that's hiding. I will say this, that for the most part the soil stayed pretty loose, which is a good thing. You want that for potatoes. So overall, not bad. Again, let me get this soil here cleaned up, and then we'll lay out everything that we've got and show you what the final result was. All right, folks. So thank you for staying with me through all of this. The last thing that I'll do after I get cleaned up a little bit, I will go in and get weights on these. So here the Nicola, and these are a small fingerling type potato. Just, you know, when I look at it, it appears waxy, and you know, like I said, I could see these. You know, going alongside a nice roast, and I think that would be fantastic. These are the Pontiac Red. Even though they're not very red, the Pontiac Reds that I've always seen have been more the color that you see there in the interior. So maybe I harvested these a little too late. Maybe I let them get a little too big. And then what have been my favorite so far, the Purple Viking. That's bigger than what most of them have been. Kind of just larger than golf ball, smaller than baseball size. And like I said, so far this season, far and away my favorite potato from a flavor profile. So anyways, you know, like I said, I guess everybody always wishes they would have had a little bit more in their harvest, but hey, you know, I'm not a professional. I will say that over and over. I am learning every day is something new. Every harvest is something new, and this is my first crack at container gardening. So, you know, there's certainly some notes that have been made, some things that will be done differently next year, and I'm not done. Even though it's probably not in the camera shot over my left shoulder, I've still got potatoes that are a longer indeterminate variety. Again, russet Burbank and German Butterball, and so those are much longer season, later season potatoes, and I hope and pray that they make it through this heat that is in our forecast this next week. I don't know. I don't know. Anyways, again, happy Father's Day to everyone. If you're watching this and if you've got any benefit, if you've got any suggestions for me to improve what I'm doing, please share that in the comment. If you found any inspiration from any of this, it's not that hard, really. Please hit the like. I'd love for you to subscribe to my channel and follow along with me as I try to learn some new things every day, just like you, I'm sure. And hit the bell as well, so that you know whenever I put out new content. I like to say that I do it weekly, but it's maybe weekly, maybe every other week, just depending kind of on my work schedule and really what's going on in the garden. I sound like a broken record here lately, just say it's hot, it's hot, it's hot. So happy Father's Day to all the dads out there. I'm got to get going. My girls, wife, and my two daughters said they want to take me out to dinner, so I got to get my ugly mug cleaned up, and I don't know where we're going, but apparently we're going out to dinner. So thanks again for being here with me. Y'all stay cool, keep growing, and share with me any of your successes or challenges. Thanks a lot. Bye-bye.